So everybody, go ahead and finish up. Go. Good. All right, we'll go ahead and get started in that. Hey, thank you, everybody. Again, we've got a really good turnout here tonight. We have probably about 18, 20 people here in person, and it looks like we've got about 12, 15 people online in that. So once again, thank you for everybody for joining tonight's exhibition night. I think we have 44 images tonight, so we'll get started on those here in a couple minutes. I first wanted to just go over a couple real quick announcements of some of the other things that we've got coming up. Next meeting is March 15th, so it's 2 weeks from tonight, Wednesday night, and that is a presentation night, and we have Dave Purcell, our two-time photographer of the year, who will be presenting on Lightroom tips and tricks. So I've already talked to him about this, but he's going to do, again, a demonstration of some of the new Lightroom features, including the masking, select sky, select subject, targeted adjustments for portraits. There's a lot of new things out there in Lightroom and that, so it'll be an exciting night to learn a few new tips and tricks that night. After that, the next one will be April 5th. That's another Wednesday night, first Wednesday in April, and that's competition night. And this one is a themed event night, so we have people, pets, and silhouettes. The judge for that night is Cliff Lawson. He's the one who presented earlier this year on portrait photography. So go back and look at, we've got the recording of that one if you want to go back and look at some of the tips in that for portraits, if you want to enter portraits in that. But if you don't have portraits, silhouettes will work also. April 19th is, we have, that's our the next presentation night. That is Cole Thompson, who's going to be presenting on eye versus vision. And just having seen a couple of his presentations before, they're very interesting. And he really emphasizes a lot of very interesting black and white photography. So that one again is April 19th. Let's see, I've got also in the month of April, we have the entries were already due, I guess, this last week, but Exploring the Light art show, that's the opening reception is at the Lone Tree Art Center. That is Saturday, April 8th. It's the day before Easter. And that opening reception is from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Let's see here. And then the next in May, I'll go through a couple of the May events in that. We've got an exhibition night on May 3rd. So that will be similar to what we're doing here tonight. And then on May 17th, that will be the next presentation night. And that's going to be food photography with Lone Tree member Terry Verbicus. And so with that, let's go ahead and, oh, the other thing I've got here now is Bruce just brought in tonight some of the ribbons. So we'll go through some of the ribbons. I'm going to start here with the beginner intermediate color. And we have, let's see. Third place was Kathy Bala, East to West. She's online. Congratulations, Kathy. I see you waving your hand there. Good. We'll hold the ribbon for you till you're here the next time. Let's see here. We also have third place. Was there a tie for third? Is that what it was?
Or 2/3? Did one get
2/3? Yeah.
Is our name up?
Olin Jones. It says second, so it just was written on it. It was written on a third place ribbon, but we'll.
I think I got an honorable mention. If there's a ribbon for that honorable mention.
Does it say second place on it?
It says third. It says third on there.
Okay, I'll take that.
You've got the list
I'm
too.
complaining about that one. Let's see here. I do have. Let's see. I guess I'm going backwards. Honorable mention. We had Bruce Ryman. What Powered Donuts? What Powered Donuts? Congratulations.
I'm still a beginner intermediate.
No, you're not.
Planning to stay there.
Let's see here. And then we go first place, and that was Jane Richards with Delicate. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, stay there.
Yeah, you just stand up there.
Right. Yeah, and that was, I should have just given you this. The judges award was also for Jane Richards. Good job.
You have to wear all these at the Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, now to the advanced color. Start from the back here. Okay, honorable mention is Terry Verbicus with Last Light of Autumn. Third place, Darren White with Storm Ripples. I think your name comes up here again in a second with the same one. Let's see. Second place, Karina Zaragoza, Familiar Friend. Congratulations. Let's see. First place was Terry Verbicus with $1 Million Fall Morning. And the Judges Award, Darren White with Storm Ripples. Most of my. Okay, next we'll move on to envelopes. Beginner intermediate monochrome. Let's see, third place. No, we'll start with, here we go. Honorable mention is Jeffrey Scott with The Bond. Third place, Tony Lazzari, Forgotten. Second place, Bruce Ryman, What Did You Say?
Nobody else in it.
First place, Bruce Ryman, Follow the Leader. And the Judges Award, Tony Lazzari with Forgotten.
Get more points.
Okay, and then the final envelope here is the advanced monochrome. Let's see here. Honorable mention is Elaine Graves, I'm Not Your Muse. Third place, Terry Verbicus with Morning Mountain Magic. Second place, Dave Purcell, Tulip Staircase. First place, Carino Zaragoza, Mirror of a Storm. And final award here, Judges Award for monochrome is Jeff Woodward with Ice Mountain. Okay, with that, I don't know if anybody has any other questions or announcements. If not, Carino, did you want to run the
Sure.
the program? Sure.
All right.
Mike,
Okay, as we did in the past, when your photo comes up, say who you are and tell us a little bit about your photo.
So I'll go ahead and keep speaking here, I guess, then. So this is one that I actually took a few years ago. The color is a little bit more vibrant on my screen here than it is up on that. So I don't know if that's what that is. But anyways, this is one I took actually a few years ago at Union Station. It was sunset. And I submitted this one. What I wanted to point out about this one is, you know, sometimes at these meetings, we do learn a few things and kind of interesting techniques. What I did was I took one of my older images and I went back to, there's a recording actually that we have, and I'll put it out on the chat here in a second, but it was one of our meetings from last year. It was the art of, what was it called? Yeah, Ed Canal. It was the art of urban photography. But he had a really interesting way of processing the images, and most of the edits were actually done in Lightroom. There's a few things that you do over in Photoshop and that, but I went ahead and I went back to that, processed this image with some of the techniques that he did, and remembering that when he was doing those, he'd had a lot of I think it was from Miami, and he did a lot of morning sunrise shots of the big buildings out there in the city. So I thought, well, why don't we, if those would work for some of our Colorado city scenes and that. So that's how I did this one. I will say that like after I did this, I had a couple others that suggested a couple of other edits. There's a little bit of added, if you look, and I haven't, what you're seeing here isn't the final version because I did some other adjustments afterwards in that, but up kind of by the Union Station sign, there's a little bit of haloing, a little bit of kind of lighter color back behind the sign, the clouds that are right up there against the edge. I had done a radial gradient that lit some of that up, so I had to go back in and darken that up a little bit. But anyhow, that's the story of this one.
Yeah, the computer really looks nice.
Yeah.
Michael,
Yes.
there are a couple of spots that I would run down for you.
Okay.
On the, on the lower right-hand corner, there's a light on top of the, that circular kind of.
Yeah,
thingy down
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And bring that down.
Yeah.
And then going to the left, there's a light inside of the train car.
Okay.
That I might take down just a little bit.
Take some of those things, just in that they're distractions if they're a little bit there. Okay, thank you. And afterwards, I also did burn down a little, there's kind of that leading line that is the train that's there in the front. It was maybe a little bit bright, so not in the version that I shared here, but in another version that I did a couple of days ago. I took that down a little bit. It still has that kind of that light leading line into that direction, but it's just not quite as bright as what showed there.
I like that the highlight on that train matches the color in the sky.
Right, yeah, it has, and like I said, on the screen, it's a little bit more
Yeah.
orange than what's up there.
Is there anything inside that? The leading line of the train leads you back into that dark area in there?
Yeah,
I mean, I guess the train's leading you to see that dome on the back, that's fine. I was just saying, if you could see a little more shadow detail in there, I mean, it's probably
Sure.
just boring, I don't know, maybe.
Pull that up
Ye-
here.
yeah, it's just those buildings that are back in there, but I see what you're saying is that, does that line go to something that's a little bit dark? Could that be brought up a little
You've
bit?
done a great job of actually bringing the eye into that little dome thing, but if there was something additional in there.
Sure. Okay, no, thank you.
Any more comments? Move on to the next
The
one.
only thing I'd say is on the right side, it would have been great if that circle would have been complete.
Yeah,
Right side, that would have been awesome.
yeah, and I have some with that, just not in this particular day with that particular light, but really what it takes to do that is like a 24-70 lens, even at 24, doesn't quite do it by the time you straighten it out. So I have done it before with a 15 to 30 lens, like that, at like 20 millimeters or whatever. But from that position, the 24 to 70, which I think is what I was using this day, I didn't have that other lens with me, so this was kind of the best I could do. But I understand what you're saying.
Michael, if you
Mhm.
really wanted to fill that out, you could go to your original raw image and bring in one of those other images that has that full circle and just
Yeah.
bring in that, extend your image, your
Right.
side, bring in that edge, and just blend it in.
Blend it in and just,
And then, you might have to like reprocess it at that point, but
sure.
because
Right.
it's easier to do those things before you start changing your colors and
Yeah.
modifications, kind of cleaning up those types of things.
Sure,
But
sure, okay, yeah.
if you wanted to,
Yep, no, I wish I would have had that larger lens with me.
You know, like at the end, you go, darn, I should have done that at the beginning.
I love the
Can't say
text, I love that texture in the top of the train, it's kind of really,
yeah.
really cool, it's an extra feature, it's really nice.
Looks like it's been through a couple hailstorms.
Yeah.
I like the blue and the yellows.
Michael,
Yes,
if you stuck with the 24-70 for that shot, why don't you shoot a panorama?
yeah, I've done that before and it comes out in this particular scene, it comes out a little bit odd. But, and I can't describe it, but I've done it a couple of times and it didn't look right. It had a weird look to it.
You'll see my image and I didn't take the whole
Okay,
thing.
sure.
And I think, you know, it also has an appearance too, and it doesn't have the whole shape in it.
Right.
You know.
Thank you.
Any more comments? All right, we'll go to the next one.
So this is my image. I thought it was a little interesting at the last meeting. One of my images of an old building kind of like this was.
Darren. That's Darren.
Anyway, this is saying that have to be straight up and down. So I thought this was so I think I was not back over the last I was at national I was outdoor workshop and then I drove 15 hours. So the Canadian sits right the US side of the up in Midland, Montana. In the afternoon, shot sunset, this massive lightning thunderstorm came through. Slept for a couple hours, woke up, my friend took off just before sunrise. I stuck around, shot a couple pictures of sunrise, and then I left. Not an hour later, another photographer who was scouting for a workshop, he came up to this and it had fallen over. One of the last pictures of the Rocky Valley Lutheran Church in Dooley, Montana, and it was shot on July 7th, and it fell over on the 8th.
Church need to be good.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it was built in 1915. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1993, and then it collapsed in 2018.
That's surprising. That's surprising that it collapsed. Just looking at it, it looks like it's got another 10 years of.
So the scariest thing about this is before I left that morning, I walked to the right side of the church and I stuck my camera in the building and I have a picture of the whole inside with a wide angle lens. Like it could have just fallen on me. So I will say that while this is actually a real scene, we have lightning bolts all around us. It is two images just to get the image quality better. Because we were shooting high ISOs for the images at night, and then we were shooting lower ISOs for around the sunset. But this is an actual image of what we were seeing while we were there.
So you're not saying that you crossed that fence there, keeping people out so it doesn't fall on people, do you?
So that fence actually borders a farmer's field, and there's a road. You can kind of see the road up by that bush on the far left side there. A little tiny bit of the road. There's the gravel road's right there.
So that's not.
We didn't have to
keeping you
cross
out.
that fence.
No, it was public property. There was no fence crossings. No. But yeah, I literally have the last pictures of this church.
So what's the name of this photo?
Final Strike. Yeah.
Appropriate.
It was a crazy lightning storm. I mean, it was just, it was amazing.
So do you have something that will trigger your camera for lightning?
No, I just set it up and like set it for 2 or 3 second exposures and just let it run.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's the easiest way to capture lightning, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking like you when I first saw it, there's no straight lines on here.
I know.
There's some straight fence posts in the background.
I think with an image like this particular barn and this view, I mean, it's obvious that there should not be a straight line on the building.
Right.
But I think, some of them some of the older buildings, you know, might not quite lean as dramatically, so.
Right, but even if a building is not straight up and down and perpendicular, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to straighten it.
Yeah, you can straighten that job, I mean, you know.
No, you got to straighten that one.
That other image that you had, I actually loved that wide angle. You were embracing the wide angle.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought that was what made it interesting.
yeah, but that's okay. I just kind of put this in here as a, kind of a joke thing, but yeah. And it does look good on the screen too.
Yeah, there's more color here on.
Yeah, it's just monitor is not.
Anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to share it. No big deal.
Beautiful sky though. Sky is beautiful.
Did you do a lot of processing on this? Other
No.
than blending that?
No. I mean, I did my normal camera processing, and then I took the sky out of the church image and I replaced it with the lightning bolt one. And other than that, not much.
Is the lightning bolt a single frame?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And if you look on my Let's Chase Light site, there's another one taken from a slightly different angle that has a different lightning bolt, but it's similar to this. It's taken from more over on the left side. But yeah, we had lightning that was hitting like all around us, like right outside of our cars. So it was.
Stand out there with a tripod. That was-
Any other comments?
This is mine. And I just really like to play with tree trunks and vertical lines and pan upward and just see what effects happen. And I just like the different colors in the trees, both in the greens and in the browns.
Whose image is this?
Randy Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. It's very painterly looking. With a filter, you know, being applied in Photoshop, which is nice.
Yeah, I like the blend of color. And sometimes it's tricky to get the right shutter speed to do this right. You go like, because I do these occasionally too, and then you try like 1/20th of a second, 1/40th of a second, and then it depends upon how fast you're moving your camera up and down. But that you did this one very well. Is that snow on the ground too? Is that part of what? Yeah, that's good. Nice.
You did a good job of keeping the trees level as you, straight as you moved up.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
My
And they're not falling over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My trees all up to the left.
The width of your lens will decide how much they bend when you move up and down too.
Oh, no, mine are like,
Oh, side.
I can get the blur going up and down, but I get the blur going sideways too. There's no straight up and down with that.
You do 5-axis panning?
Do you play with where the crop was on the bottom?
No, it wasn't cropped.
Well, I mean, I'm just, the only comment I have is I really love the limited color palette. And like everybody says, it's really pleasant the way you've kept the up and down motion. But with the snow, it's so overwhelming. Your eye is going to be drawn to the lightest thing in the image. And so on that bottom left corner, you have so much white, that big triangle that's drawing my eye into the corner and kind of trapping me down there. Whereas if you were to drop up from the bottom a little bit and have a little bit less of that white triangle, I'm just kind of I'm trying to figure out if that would be a different, interesting version of the same photo.
Yeah, I'm like holding something over the screen now to see how that would look like, and I like it. So thank you.
Or take those 4 left trees, those sound strange, and stretch it because it's already stretched, stretch them downward some.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah.
Gorgeous image.
Yeah, very nice. Any more comments? Yes.
Thank you.
So
Oh.
who's this one?
Sorry, that one's fine. Just an old place out in western Kansas underneath stormy skies. But that'd be cool to put a monochrome in.
Is that building really out in just like an island in this field?
Yeah, they what's the word I'm looking for? They farm this land and so they when they plow and retail and everything, they just go right up around the house. So
It's amazing sky.
Yeah, that's guys, okay.
thanks.
I like the symmetry and I love how all the clouds are just pointing right to the house.
Yeah.
Clouds are phenomenal.
Thank you. The place that we have permission to shoot, so we can walk all around it and get different angles and stuff, so.
Was that the hailstorm then?
No, not the hailstorm thing, no.
Now, my eye's drawn a little bit to that darker piece off to the left of the house.
The cloud,
Yeah.
yeah.
That little white.
That building may not have too many more years left of it either.
Yeah.
And this little thing right here.
I know you can take it.
Yeah, I don't do too much of the images that I show for exhibition, I did just kind of for fun.
Yeah.
This is for the great unwashed, right?
The what?
These are for the great unwashed.
You know, something like that, so just as an example from my learning experience, like that white patch that Delaine's talking about on the left-hand side. To fix that, you could do that and it could look okay here, but if you were to blow it up to like a 40 by 60 print, then you start seeing all the little tiny mistakes where it didn't blend perfectly and the corn stalks don't match up and things like that. So sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's better to leave the image as it is than to try and fix it.
I can appreciate that.
And sometimes I'll save images two different ways. I'll save one without edits in case somebody wants a print like that, or I'll save it with the edits to post online or something. But you know, once you clone that out and you process everything, then you could always go back to the raw file and start over again, but it just makes it easier if you just save two files to begin with. So it just depends on how detailed and what you're working with, what the subject matter is in the scene. So, but yeah, my eye goes to that too now that I have to do it.
It's nice the way the clouds are kind of pointing to that house. Any more comments? Move on.
So my name is John List. That's out at Roxborough State Park. I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. It was snowing hard. I went out there. I had to wait about an hour and a half. I went out on the trail, but I had to turn back. It was snowing so hard, but there was no one else there except me and the ranger. So I got quite a few shots of that and the cabinets there, without any, disturbed snow. So it was really nice to see the snow still fresh, not even falling off the trees yet or anything when this was taken. And yeah, my image, those trees should be a little darker in the back than what it's showing there.
Yeah, on the screen, there's a little bit more contrast.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I know where that branch is. And where that is. And to catch it right there was like undisturbed snow is, I've been there before on snow days, but never had like where there's not any tracks, like right there on the front of it. That's nice.
I feel like I want those two little clumps of grass in the corner.
Somebody else did the same thing. I just felt that it just shows, I don't know, the motion of sort of the wind that was happening, that was slowly moving the snow. I felt that if I took them out, it would just look too plain in the front. And also, can't quite see it on the right, there's some buried grass also with a little texture on it. But, you know, I sort of left them there, to give a little context, I guess, to the snow. If we know snow
They are
doesn't.
going the same way as the branches, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I left the two, right? The branches move to the right, all the grasses are moving to the right. Also here in this picture. Fell over, they all fell to the right.
Although, to Darren's point, you know, contrast, whether it's the black versus the white, or the simplicity on the bottom versus the complexity at the top, that would, if you had a version without everything, I mean, just kind of smoothed over snow on the left, then that would really, really do a
Right.
hypothetical simplicity versus
Yeah.
complexity.
But to Darren's point earlier, and I actually tried that in the area. And, you know, a small print is fine, but anything bigger, even cloning that snow over, you'd be amazed at just the tiny bit of contrast difference, and trying to match that is almost impossible. So, you know, Darren would say, just leave it. I mean, that's, you know, it's better than having a picture that when you look at it, you go, yeah, that's fake, ain't it? Or, you know, it just doesn't fit in. And I do that with several of my, you know, a lot of my images. Like, you know, he's saying that it's just better to leave it the way it is, tone it down maybe, but don't try to make it perfect.
I've tried snow before.
Yes.
And you would be amazed at, like you were saying, how little, I mean, like the most subtle, like change in shadow. Yeah, that just makes it really difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have to be one where you took a bit of the right,
Yeah,
copied it, flipped it,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd have to,
instead of cloning it in.
you'd have to do a large patch. Yeah.
And I've mentioned before, you know, it's an individual art. You do what you feel comfortable with, what you like.
Right.
Set the bench at the base of the pump.
And being true, yeah, yes.
It looks like a padded chair.
And I got one of the, it's not here, but I got one of the whole, you know, rock formation that day also with, again, the fresh snow on it. Front to back,
Yeah.
Just a rental.
Exactly.
Any more comments? We'll move on.
Basics, yeah, the classics.
And this is another one of mine. So again, another view of Union Station on the platform, the pedestrian platform. I took this one, and as we see, you know, again, my light in the back, you know, is a little lighter, but you know, I took the form of the canopy into it, but then have my leading lines in there. I call this coming and going. As we see, we've got a train, right, coming and going. We've got the leading lines coming in on there. The buildings in the back I like because they're symmetrical in their, you know, they're rectangles or squares, everything out there. So, and again, it's in contrast to what is forward in the picture.
Is this a long exposure?
It was, yes.
Because I see the clouds.
Yeah.
moving.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
That's
the
interesting though.
the dark train the train on the right with the three windows looking towards us, was that active and moving
No.
at all?
No.
Oh,
So both of these trains were actually sitting, right?
yeah.
And I had enough. And my original long exposure didn't work quite right. So sky replacement. But again, it was simple on this one because I just have square or, you know, hard lines.
So you replaced the sky in this image?
Yes,
So what was the sky in the original image?
ugly. It was puffy clouds that just, the texture of them didn't go with the between, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know,
So this image here isn't actually a long exposure, just the clouds are?
yes,
Okay,
yeah, the clouds were taken
okay,
separate
got it,
and put in, right,
gotcha.
yes. Same day, same place, but, and I do that sometimes because it just works better.
Yeah, I don't care if
You
the
start
clouds are
with
from New Mexico or Kansas or wherever. I was just curious because thinking that the train could potentially move if you had like a 1 minute exposure. So that I guess my question was like,
Mhm.
how many pictures did you have to take to get the train static, so to speak?
Well, one picture for the trains, looks like they are, and then one picture for the long exposure sky.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I was at. I was like, well, wait a minute, if you have long exposure in the sky, why don't I see movement in the train? So yeah, I do like the juxtaposition of the curvature of the canopy against the very square buildings in the background. I would like to see just a little bit more in the front, so that the front of the train isn't quite cut off. Like there just be like a little bit of, you know, a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, there was junk down there, so that was a decision, right? Rid of the junk,
That's fine.
but there was a, what do you call it? Trying to say, a train stop kind of device in the track right there.
Yeah,
And I was like, no, you know, right. So I'm right at the bottom of the train is where I ended up with that. And the same thing with the middle, there was something forward that I sort of took out of that. Anyway, this I did as a 2, 1 to 2. Again, for that elongated piece of the canopy to bring it out versus a square or a 16, by 20 or something, right? 2 by 3. And I do that a lot. I do a lot of, well, that's all I do is square and rectangle. So, and I try to get pictures that match that,
You don't do circular pictures?
No circles, no. Lens does, but,
Is it safe down there?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but
Is it?
I always have, my girlfriend with me when I'm taking pictures.
Yeah.
She's watching, while I'm taking.
Yeah.
She's, and usually in this case, I was on a tripod and I put my backpack on my, connected, but she's watching my back, in the area. When you got that much equipment and things with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't go alone. I mean, just because having 2 people, you're more relaxed. You don't have to watch. Because I've been down there by myself and it's just not as, you're a little more tense and like you said, watching things a little bit more. But yeah, and that's a fun area to, photograph around Union Station. There's a lot of great architecture in this city, actually. Denver has a lot more than I thought they would have. I came from the East Coast in Charlotte, and Charlotte only has 3 or 4 buildings that are really, anything. Here, I'm amazed how many there are. Yeah. And my next version, I was thinking about taking that real quick, in the back, darkening that a little bit more. Or actually not darkening it as much as, if you look at it, the focus is from front to back pretty much, but I'm going to bring down the focus in that back, a little. Not a lot, but just a little, so that you stay up front more in the picture. It's going to be my next version.
All right. We'll go to the next one here.
Hi, my name's Robert Legg, and this is obviously a great blue heron that I took at a heronry that really is just south of Castle Rock. And he was out on this branch among many others, and it was pretty far up there. It was difficult to point the camera up that high and try to hold still and get it in focus. So this is greatly cropped. Yeah, I don't know. I think I took this maybe
South of Castle.
over a year ago.
Yeah. It looks like it was pretty windy that day.
Yeah, it was. And as a matter of fact, I almost submitted a different version of the same shot with a a sky replacement in a stormy sky that I really like, but I thought, I wasn't sure if you guys were okay with sky replacement. I'm pretty new to
I like how you do that. No, I mean, you can just see it, that without the wind, without a tree or anything, you can picture it, at least I can.
Yeah, Robert, this is really nice. You mentioned that you cropped it in quite a bit. You're just looking at the position of the bird kind of like in the center, and then it's kind of looking out of the frame. Just out of curiosity, do you have like a little bit more room in your original image over to the left, and maybe then sort of crop it where you have the bird, and I'll say just not that you have to follow rules, but rules of thirds, and have it be over on kind of that right, and then giving it more space to look off to the
I could see doing that, sure. I guess maybe maybe should back that crop out a little bit and giving more room facing forward be a good
yeah,
suggestion.
is okay. I was just looking at it more, of keeping it, for that size, but having, shifting that crop a little bit more over to the side to give them more room to look off the.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
More comments?
I have one. I could also see just a little bit more stick at the bottom so that he's not just right on the bottom of the frame with his toes.
Yeah. Again, I guess maybe I just cropped it in further than would be a little better to pull it back out.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
So this one is this one's mine. It was at the Elizabeth Stampede Rodeo last year. So actually I was able to get a whatever you call it, a pass, the press pass or whatever, on that to photograph there. So this was during the bull riding and that, and just because it was, they started doing this before it got dark, and then you're photographing during dusk, and then it gets dark. And I had a 70 to 200 lens at 2.8, and I was pretty much going at 2.8 just to not have to push the, to capture the action, but not have to push the ISO to crazy levels in that. But I was pushing the ISO up to, I think it was about 2000, so something like that on here. Thankfully, there's noise reduction software out there to clean that up. But anyways, this is one that I captured there at that Elizabeth Stampede last June, I think it was.
A lot of bull off the air, a foot off the ground.
Yeah. I like how you didn't cut anything off, any people or objects off to the right or left that were important to the scene,
Yeah, it was fun. I hadn't photographed that kind of fast action like that at night before that, so it was a good test.
It's really hard.
Yeah, because I was down at the show recently down in Denver, in the arena, and I was struggling real hard. There was no light.
What was your shutter speed there?
Yeah, I don't have that with me, but I was trying to keep that shutter speed at like 1/1000th, somewhere in that range, and that just to try and keep everything sharp. But like I said, when I was doing that, I had to, as it was getting darker and darker through the evening, and especially some of these later ones, I was having, it was the ISO that I was continually having to push up there.
You were lucky with the color light. Did you have to adjust for fluorescent light?
White balance and all that. I really didn't do it. I just had it on auto white balance, and
Really?
it caught that. I didn't do any adjustment on it.
Because I've been in some nighttime rodeo trying to take pictures, and they had a mixture of light tones.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
I shoot sometimes at my husband's football games, and their big lights on their football field don't have the same light bulbs in each one. Yeah. I tried to talk to him about that, but some budget that.
All color shift.
I mean, one thing, like when I was doing this, I mean, obviously there are some things out there in the background and that, trucks, fans, all that kind of stuff and that. I tried to darken those to some extent, but they're still there, but hopefully they're far enough back there and they're not too lit up to where they're not too distracting.
But for an image like this, where you're at a rodeo, there's lots of trucks and trailers, it's all part of this story.
It's the environment.
If you have like this pristine background, it wouldn't look the same.
Right.
Yeah, I think it adds. My question is there a little bit too much dark in the upper left? In other words, if you crop down, you'd get rid of that white stuff up on the edge. Now you're going to cut across Wrangler, but is that really bad?
Yeah, good question. Up in the upper left, there's a little bit of stuff that comes through there, but you're right. I mean, it was night, it's dark, and there wasn't that much.
Yeah, I guess just for balance, it just seems like it's a little bit sky heavy to me.
Yeah.
More comments?
Thank you.
This is mine. It's called the Doors of Durham, and it's a church. I think it's St. Edward's Church in Gloucestershire, England. And these doors are supposedly the inspiration for Tolkien's Doors of Moria, which were dwarf built and elven inscribed in Lord of the Rings. Anyway, what I tried to do with this is just bring down the color and the tone to indicate the age, because this was built somewhere in the 11th to 14th century.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
And images like this, I would think did you try it in black and white?
I did, yes, but I liked a little bit of color in the trees, in the.
Yeah, black and white, those trees would get really busy, with all that fine detail up there, which can be.
I think a vignette would be nice on this.
Okay.
Just to tone down that upper right corner, just a little bit.
Bottom corners.
Yeah. But yeah, where the door is the main focus point there, just to keep your attention right on the door.
Naturally push you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep that path light, but the sides darker.
Right. Got it.
And draw you in.
Yeah.
Would you do that? Would you do that with just vignetting? When you say bring down the lightness, like up at the top right, vignetted, or are you talking about doing something else?
Well, I'd probably do it with a brush, because then I could precisely put the darker tones where I wanted them. If you do a vignette, it's going to go around the whole thing.
Right.
Sometimes I do an ellipse, and then with the there's a slider that will fade it some more, where it doesn't get as heavy.
Well, you can do the vignette, so you just do it lines.
Yeah,
you can shape it. So yeah, it's a good suggestion, because the brightness is distracting.
Yeah, that's sort of that left side that I think is a window or something that's white off of that middle. Yeah. Again, if you darken it, that probably go sort of come down a little bit. My eye goes there for some reason.
Okay, thanks.
I like the texture though, with the natural effect, and like you said, the age, you can just feel the age in that when you look at it.
Okay, that was mine. I was at the top of Mount Evans and the fog came in, and for a while you couldn't see anything, and then it started to clear. And so I played around with it a little bit. Been resisting doing much processing for years, but decided to play around the dehazing and the color and kind of cropped it in because there was a lot of ground in there.
I think brightness just needs to be toned down a little bit. It looks bright on the TV screen.
Yeah, a little bit darker and a little bit more.
Yeah.
Color on the screen.
There's some dust spots.
Dust spots on it?
There's a couple of dust spots on that left side in that cloud.
Yeah. I think it has a lot of potential. I think it just be a little.
Those are easy. Those are easy fixes right there.
Look at that bottom where that road is, maybe crop that road out. Or if you have the picture and it has a little more in it, you know, then lower it down just a little bit to get more road and just a tad bit less sky. If that's possible.
This one's mine. Also Mount Evans, same place that we just saw in the last one. So this is one of these ancient bristlecone pine trees. There's a lot more color here on my screen. It shows up there. But so this was obviously it was sunrise. I got back there. I did use the 15 to 30 Tamron lens for this one, and I want to say I went like either f16 or f18 and that and try and get that sun star that's right there on the corner of that one branch. And otherwise, I didn't do a lot to it. I did a little bit of, dodging and burning, a little bit of luminosity masking and that to try and get a little bit of dimension in that and some of the other things that are in the foreground. And that was it. But like I said, there is more color here than what's showing up on our monitor up there.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, you purposely left the trees a little darker, right? So that your eye was sort of go to the foreground here in the tree.
Yeah, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to over push you get kind of a little bit of almost silhouetting, I guess, or whatever. But naturally, that's how you're going to see it. I didn't want to. It would come out over process if I try to really push a lot of detail in that.
Right.
So
This spot right here, that points you right out of the picture, and it's just so light that it's just, I go right over here and then right out.
It's like a thumb.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the finger pointing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
And like I said, I was trying to get some dimension and get some of that stuff in the foreground, but maybe the stuff over on the far edges to be taken down a little bit.
I like that you dodged and burned those rocks in the beginning in the foreground because you got great foreground interest. But is there a lot of? It looks like there's a lot of lichens and moss on those things. I mean, you could really pump up the saturation on that and really draw people in and back. Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to see with the.
It's flat on the screen.
It's single 30-minute exposure. And not much more to say. It's Milky Way, double arch. Shot from a low perspective, and really had to tone down the foreground. Because as it was shot at 30 minutes, it came out very bright. But I liked how the curve of the star trails mirrors the face of the rock.
This
So,
is the little thing right here, this little white spot.
I believe that's another hole.
Yeah,
It is. It's funny. It is another hole in the rock, but I always clone it out just because it does draw your eye. But yeah, it is a natural arch.
I mean, in doing this, you said you took one shot, right?
This is one exposure,
Right. But and you were talking about how, I mean, you could also do two, right? Get a proper exposure of the back, of the foreground, and get a longer exposure of the sky. That's a simple. I'm just saying, if that became tricky to, it was becoming too light.
Was it too light?
In your exposure.
Was it too late in this?
No.
Okay.
No.
I understand it's a night photo, but for me, I think I would play with the white balance just to see how it looked if you played with the white balance, perhaps made it a little cooler or something. It's just, I know there was rocks are supposed to be red, and I know because of the night photography, they're turning yellow, but I don't know, I don't have a good suggestion. I would just play with seems like it has too much of a green cast to me.
Looking at the laptop,
Yeah,
I can see it's
Is
the TV monitor.
Yeah.
The TV monitor color is off.
Yeah, let's see, here's what it looks like.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a big.
Green was the worst thing in the world.
So this one's mine, from Colorado National Monument at sunrise. And I was really intrigued by these, not sure if they're bristle cones, but the texture of the trees and the shadows.
I think that, yeah, you said the juniper tree, yeah, because there's a different type.
Yeah, they're juniper.
It has kind of interesting texture, but the bristle cones are like way up in the higher elevation.
Yeah, they're like, I just feel like there's too much white, like, there's not enough separation between the tree and the sky.
It's different on the monitor.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Turn your. Oh, yeah.
Reno's monitor is different than Bruce's as well. Yeah, kind of interesting.
This is why if you have a website and you're trying to sell stuff,
Yep.
it's so hard because people see different things on different monitors, and then when they try to print, they're like, oh, the color doesn't look the same. Well, yeah, this is an issue. This is like a legit issue in the world of photography.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, speaking of that, yeah, I did photography for my sister. She has fabric. She sells fabric, and it's that way. I mean, yeah, I did everything. You know, is color matching, and still, yeah, people come back and go, that red looks pink, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, good details in the bark and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if there was more mountain, you know? I mean, your angles could have been a little different. I'm just, more mountain in it.
Yeah, I was really focusing on the tree. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You go those ways. You go no mountains, right? And sky, or more mountains.
What was it like in color? Could it have been more, have more depth to it and interest to it with the reds? Like you said, it was sunrise and I can see the warm sun coming on the bark and with the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a definite glow on the branches. Yeah, I like the color version, but I decided to try this just for something different.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, always good to experiment.
That one's also mine. So another kind of abstract. Autumn.
Yeah, I like this. I'm trying to, what was the technique? So this one isn't as much of the, the other one had the vertical intentional motion blur and that. Was this like multiple exposure, or is it, how do you get that kind of the what the term is?
Texture look.
Yeah, the texture look.
It looks like sideways movement without the trees moving.
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble hearing. There's a lot of feedback, but it's just like really slow shutter speed and a little bit of camera movement.
Okay.
I feel like I want the right side cropped off.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'd like a square from the left over.
I think the three trees on the left are good. That dark tree kind of draws my attention.
Yeah.
Or what?
Little branch in front.
Hey, this is mine. This is Jeff. I don't know what happened to the audio, but it was working fine before, but just the last couple minutes it got really garbled. But anyways, this is from my recent trip to Iceland back in December. This is the sea stacks that are near the Bic area on the southern coast. We were there shooting sunrise, a little bit before sunrise. This is probably a good 45 minutes, an hour before sunrise. I think I zoomed in all the way to 400 on this. We were quite a ways away from the stacks, but really like the contrast, obviously, of the sky, the sunrise sky, and then the blue waters. It's a fairly straightforward shot. Didn't do much processing to it.
Now they are.
Yeah.
And very nice colors.
Colors, this is a good, to me, this is a great example of silhouette. Looking at the laptop versus the other coats, like the foundations are some really solid black where you can't see absolutely no detail that's right in them. But it's from the laptop screen over here. And the ocean and the sky are just, very complementary colors and stuff. So, yeah.
So they keep it up with the sound is bad. The sound coming from the
Speakers are being very good. Because there's a speaker down there by you guys.
Yes. Let's go over.
Right, say whatever we want.
I guess this is the Iceland portion of the program tonight. This is mine as well. So this is obviously an ice cave. We spent a day out there one day, and this is one of the other workshop participants who was kind enough to model for me for this photo. I was kind of up above, but kind of giving it scale to the kind of vastness of this ice cave. It was quite large, as you can see, but kind of the snowy slope down to where he was standing, and then kind of all the ice and the formations above him. But thought he did a great job of modeling for me, so enjoyed taking that photo.
I think I want the foreground, that V area where it's white, darker. I want those highlights toned way down because my eye goes there and I'm missing the guy.
Show on the screen.
I'm looking at it. It's still pretty bright on there.
Right, yeah.
These two screens match a lot closer now. So,
right.
But that's just what I'm seeing.
It's hard to draw your eye in when the person's in the darkest place, in the picture also. How would you draw them in, to something like that, or is it just not feasible?
Well, the first thing, ideally, Jeff didn't set this, this isn't like a setup picture. Like there was somebody that was there that he said, hey, can you? So ideally, first thing you want to do is have the person wear colors that don't match the background colors. So like bright reds or bright yellows. But he does have like green pants on.
Yeah, but the blue
that help a little bit, but that top part is
and maybe crop in a little bit.
That's why I'm saying if you darken the foreground, your eye won't go to that, and it'll kind of like I would actually saturate those pants a little bit, just color pick the pants and just saturate them like about 10 or so, just so they're a little bit brighter, just so your eye does go more there.
This is me again. This is waterfall. Obviously in Iceland. This is the one where you can kind of walk behind it. That's more the classic shot, but I kind of like this shot. I like the textures of the stream there coming right at you, and the water and the fall. Again, straightforward shot. just like kind of the textures in the stream, and kind of not showing the whole waterfall. The waterfall is quite high, yeah.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah, I
nice.
like that.
Really like it.
I know the spot. When I was there, there was a wedding going on, right? But I know the spot. Beautiful. I like what you did with it here. Nice.
Iceland.
Last one, I promise. This is a self-portrait. This is me looking all heroic up there on that arch. I tempted fate and set up the camera and put the continuous shooting. I think I did 30 or 40 shots at 5-second intervals, scrambled over the rocks. And the hardest part was guessing where the center part of the arch was. So I kind of moved left and right a couple feet, and I actually got this done in one shot, or one, I guess, shoot. And I scrambled back and looked at the photos, and it kind of worked out. I think the first position was too far to the left, but I wasn't going to peer over to the edge and tempt my fate. But the colors in the sky were great. I didn't really realize until I got back to the computer, but the clouds and everything and the low sun, I thought were great, and I actually got it done and didn't kill myself and didn't lose my camera equipment to the North Atlantic. So it was a success.
Yeah, cool shot, Jeff.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, Jeff, I was going to ask you how your life insurance and your health insurance is.
Yeah, don't tell my wife. I haven't shown it. So
Yeah, you're not going to show her this one. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'd be way sketchy and nervous about leaving. I wouldn't be as sketchy about going up on the arch. I'd be more cautious about leaving my camera because I know how windy it is in Iceland. I mean, you could be up there like,
yeah,
look back.
I was more worried about that. I put my bag on it. I weighted down, and it was pretty secure. But I hustled. I moved pretty quickly.
Where's the Rocky pose? The arms in the air.
Actually, I did that. I do have another photo of that. That's pretty.
That'll be
to say that.
Yeah,
that'll be next month.
But no, to your point, the light here is just beautiful, and the way that there's kind of like that natural vignette of the clouds are like darker on the top, the sides, and then it's nice and bright right there where you're standing. It's really, and then leading line obviously of the crevasse that leads right up, points right to you. I really like this one. It's nice.
You have really long arms for that selfie.
Yeah.
This is mine.
And you are?
Yeah, it's just at the Rocky Mountain National Park at one of the pull-offs. It was before sunrise. The moon is just out of the frame, and the fog and clouds were in the mountains. So I just took a long exposure shot, and that's what I got. So it's what you get.
Very nice.
Yeah, the clouds really make that really nice.
How long was the exposure?
Probably 30 seconds. Yeah. I wouldn't anticipate that it's more than that, but yeah, I just wanted to get some soft fog movement in the mountains with the moonlight as it was going down, and yeah, that's it.
Is that Marine Park there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that position of the tree, that one in the front.
Yeah, that tree's kind of that's hard to maneuver around, to be honest. I mean, you either work with it or you figure out a way to clone it out.
Right.
But I thought, what the heck, I'm leaving it.
Here, it's nice to have that in that foreground, but it's really nice.
It kind of shows a sense of scale, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Just needed a couple elk out there, A couple bulls out there.
I have. I've shot from the same location.
Yeah.
Zoomed all the way in to where it's just the mountains and the snow and stuff. And nobody liked that image. But yeah, I have like a 400 millimeter shot of that. So, but anyway, yeah, no big deal.
This one's mine. kind of hoping a different one would pop up sitting there, but this last summer I got a chance to shoot a concert towards the end of the summer outside, and I didn't know kind of where I could go and like what I could get away with, but then kind of realized towards the end of the concert like how close you can get, and then I think you kind of get into the zone of like figuring out the artist's personality and trying to capture that. And I only had a 35 mil lens with me, so it was a prime. And but this one it worked out really good because it was kind of a low light. This was actually just a month and a half ago up in Steamboat, but it was this was the second concert I shot, so I think this is kind of like got a little bit more comfortable, like moving around the stage and you know, having an all access pass was pretty fun. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Gosh, I knew someone was gonna ask that.
Was this at the music fest that's in January?
Yeah, in Steamboat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Texas
Right.
Music
Texas
Fest.
Music
It's a
Fest,
Texas
yeah.
band. I can't, like, if someone said it, I'd know that.
It looks familiar, but I can't place the name.
Gosh, really good band too.
I like how you didn't, how the first person or its equipment is not hindering the second person in the rear. You
That's
know,
hard.
that is hard to do.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
so much gear there.
There's so much gear, right?
And actually, there's a person even closer to me that I just kind of painted out in that black space just behind him.
Mhm.
But you can see the microphone for them is
Yeah.
kind of here. So
Yeah, that's hard on stage because they're all up in it, in their equipment, and then you got to get that right angle. And you probably only had a couple feet left or right,
Yeah.
correct? I mean, to take pictures.
yeah,
Right.
it's not much, but it's
Yeah.
once you get into that zone, it was really fun. I
Mhm.
would like encourage anybody that's never shot a concert to do it, just because. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess it would. I've never shot a wedding before, but it's, you know, you get into that zone where you're like, you get to know the people and the event, and then you just kind of zone out, and you don't know where you were for the last hour, and you snap like 500 photos.
You mentioned you had the all access pass to be able to get up there and to do this and to get the camera. Was that hard to get that? Well, I mean,
No,
you have to go through.
and actually it wasn't really official because I work for Breckenridge Brewery, and so I just said I work for the brewery. I'm here to take photos for social media. And then the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you're good. You can go and
Because I know some concert venues, it's pretty hard, you know, that's the challenge, right? It's getting that got passed like that would get you, especially like 35 millimeter to be able to get in there.
Yeah, you got to be right up there for.
Right.
So you were there for a while?
Yeah, I went like to both sides of the stage, kind of just stayed really low, got down in front, kind of shot back up at them, shot from behind them. Like it was super cool. And the lighting was really, really nice. You know, everything was really dropped off, and it was kind of like more of an intimate concert. It was up at the top of the gondola. So
Yeah, I mean, you're only shooting a 35, one lens, right? So
Yeah.
again, you became very familiar with that lens, how far you could go, you know, and that's the thing, right? You got to be familiar with your equipment.
Yeah.
You know, and you also became, like you said, one with your equipment. Yes.
That was
you know?
Yeah, that was
Yep.
so that was
Mhm.
probably my favorite shot from that whole.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
I was just gonna mention on the previous image, I like that it's not completely eye level, that you're just a little low, looking up just a little bit.
Almost from like a fan, like
Yeah, it gives you,
Yeah.
gives you that,
Right.
you know,
Off stage,
yes, it gives you the offstage or almost that fan perspective without looking up his nose completely.
Right.
I like how the light hits his leg down at the bottom, so you have kind of this nice linear stretch. It kind of keeps it together, kind of anchors it, and then you from there.
Yeah, his feet don't seem like they're just hanging out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Is his arm cut off on the left?
I did put a slight gradient on that cable go down to the right just to kind of like fade it into the black a little bit. But then, yeah, I mean, just little tweaks, but the lighting was about as perfect as you could set it out.
Did you shoot film with this, or was this digital?
It's digital. Yeah, it's R6.
Uh-huh.
And then that one was just super fun. You know, I definitely did the process is a little bit because the original image just the raw file, you can see a little bit of like the fans, like all the crowd kind of in the background there, but I just wanted to get them out of there. They didn't add anything to it. So.
You know, the black is nice because again, it just makes at least me imagine what he's looking into. You know, what is he seeing there in front of him?
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
The light skirting the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this will. I kind of was hoping the first one would come up first because this one, these were the two that I think after I kind of did the first concert, I really wanted to push it and get a little bit better for this one, and I think like super happy with the results.
You can't tell, but are these squares or what? What's your ratio?
They're vertical 4x5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So it's right up there. This is my parents and that. I just threw this one in there just because my dad was getting ready to. My dad was getting ready to have knee surgery like a week or two later than this. So I took him up to the Botanic Gardens and we walked around the place there. So nothing real, again, nothing other than my parents, kind of a portrait shot in that. But
it's a good memory shot.
Yeah. So I threw that one in here, not for any other reason than that. I wouldn't if I was going out there to specifically take portraits or something, I wouldn't have them wear a plaid shirt. Right. So it was just kind of I was taking pictures of, there aren't that many flowers out there other than on the inside part of it, man. But it was just kind of a day trip. So I thought, okay, well, I'll go ahead and take a picture of them like a week or two before he had his knee surgery and see what happened. I did a little bit of darkening in the background. I went pretty shallow into the field to make sure that I tried to blur the background the best that I could. Still a couple of hot spots back there. I realized I burned those down some, but still a little bit bright. But and again, the overall scene up there is a lot brighter than what it is here on the screen. But that's all that one is. I thought I'd throw that one in there just for fun.
It's a great memory.
Yeah. And again, I like the blurred background. Again, you used to, a good f-stop to, there's so many people that,
So I think I went all the way down to like F4 or something like that.
Were you wearing a matching plaid shirt?
Yeah. You had your plaid that day. That's all I wear.
I hope I wasn't. But yeah.
You get a nice verticality in the line. Sure.
Pretty birds.
Hi, this is my second bird shot that I submitted. So it's not much to say here. It was in my backyard on February 10th, and
it looks like somebody painted it.
And I couldn't pass it up.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah. I love the blue. I love the patterns in the blue feathers.
Yeah, it's unique. How they vary.
Don't they?
Yeah.
They move so
I've
fast.
never
You think
seen
about taking a
like
picture,
that.
they're
Yeah, I
usually
can't
gone.
get any of those birds. I can't get any of those blue jays in my yard. Stay still long.
Yeah, I can't. Wow, that's.
And this is another one where the tones look really nice here on the computer screen.
Yeah, I like
matches
I like
better.
the cools and the warms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dave, is this you?
It's not my parents. It's not me.
This was Mike's father after the surgery.
Yeah.
We're recording this, right?
I know it's Charlie's. I'm pretty sure it's Charlie.
Oh, could be. Could be from
Charlie on.
Yeah, you're not muted.
Oh, okay. So the last meeting I mentioned that Carnival in Manitou Springs is coming up. So and I went and I thought, well, I'll just post these 4 pictures from I shot the Saturday before last at Carnival. So.
Wow.
So these are some of the characters you see at the event.
As you can see, she moved to get in the picture.
To get it, she sees the camera.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Like that.
Wow.
And another character from Carnival.
That's good. I like the beard. Yeah, the beard and the beard. If you look on the computer screen, really the contrast is really nice on that.
Good job of getting some light on his face under that hat brim.
Yeah. It's nice too.
This is Carnival preparing one of the floats for the parade.
And what kind of carnival was this?
It's called Carnival. It's kind of a takeoff on Fat Tuesday, although I guess you could say it's a Fat Saturday at Manitou Springs. And it's always been a pretty big affair, although the last 2 years it's been probably kind of muted. So, but hopefully I keep coming back with more people and more weird. The theme to the show is keep Manitou weird. So.
Those are that's nice. So many colors.
Yeah. Black and white.
And this started a parade.
Big ears you have.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this one is that it's so modern, right? And then you have this old building again, a contrast in time. You know,
it looks like a fun day for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is mine. This is Kathy Bala, and this is night photography down by the art museum, which I haven't done much of. So it was a good learning experience. And my questions for the group tonight are: does the composition work? Does the starburst work? You know, you've got the starburst and then the light on the pointed part of the structure, and if that's too much tension or just enough.
Is the starburst a window reflection?
I think it's a light. Can you see the light post?
Street light?
Oh, I see it.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
it almost looks like the building could be straighter.
You know, and I was waiting for somebody to ask me that. I thought it might be Darren. But I actually put it on the graph, and the one line is straight next to the light.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a couple of straight lines, but then on the far edge, so it's probably a camera effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the aberration of the position, because I had to look up and trying to hold my camera straight. But I did have at least that one main edge of the building straight.
Straight line.
Yeah.
If you're not straight on, we shoot from an angle.
You know, I see a miniature like this, and I think we should just have a meetup down here, and we all do our own take on a scene like this.
Until shifting.
And we come back and we talk about it, and this is what makes what I think of when I see something like this. Like, it can be shot so many different ways.
Yes,
right.
And we all, even if we're all there at the same time, we're all going to get different pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
I agree.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
When it works up, yeah, we'll do a photo walk or something down there.
Yeah.
It's been a few years since we've come.
Kathy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I think I would like you to try this in a high contrast black and white
Mm-hmm.
to really accentuate the lines and the edges of the buildings.
Well, you know, actually, I had probably about 6 photos of the main art building. You know, kind of the classic the black and white, were all the shapes of the building. So I have plenty of those, but I just thought I'd try this one out for feedback because it is a little different. The sky was kind of pretty. It was just after sunset, so I can certainly do that. But I kind of like just to have it that way for feedback.
Okay.
And I've got a couple others here that are okay. This is mine also, and this one. The feedback I was looking for was just, is the lighting okay? I wanted to keep the center bright. And is there enough lighting on the ground? I vignetted up in the corners to kind of keep your eye in the main part of the image. But it just in terms of more contrast, how's the exposure?
I think your exposure is fine. I mean, I don't see, obviously you have some black things in there, so they're black. Your highlights are not, are not overly, they're not blown out or anything. I like the way that there's a bit of a gradient in your lights to kind of darks across from the lower right hand corner up to the left hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great bit of a gradient effect there. And I love that. I don't know why, but I love the idea that that's not his shadow.
Yeah, right. Just gonna say, yeah. It's like he's something. Yeah,
it's
like shadow is something else of a man. He's.
It's like in most scenes that's supposed to be his shadow, but it's obviously not his shadow. But that's really cool that it's not his shadow because you're like, well, then what shadow is that?
Yeah.
It still is a vertical shadow.
Yeah, there was a bicycle to the right, so I took it horizontally, and there was a bike. So I was focused on the bike, and then the silhouette or the shadow on the building, and then all of a sudden this guy started walking through, and it took me a second to realize I got to take a picture of him. So he was actually walking away, and he was too far away from the bike. So then I flipped it and made it vertical. And then just focused on both the person and then the shadow on the building.
One suggestion, Kathy?
Yeah.
On the left-hand side in front of the guy, where your bar comes through, it looks like there's another one of those bike rails or something on the edge. I might crop it in just inside of that.
But I love these lines, these jagged lines, get some more contrast in that background.
Well, that's what I was wondering, more contrast.
Coming from, black and white.
That on my computer screen, there is a little bit more contrast than what we're seeing up there. And that shadow pops a little bit more on my computer screen.
Because I can use some more texture, more contrast. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. And then this is the last one. And this was difficult in terms of the lights that were reflecting on the glass. And, I had to really walk around and look at it from different angles. So this came out about the best of the series that I had done. And again, it's, to keep the bright light in the center, not too bright. And then I was wondering about the colors. I wanted those to be bright and pop out. So it was a lot of tweaking on what to concentrate on. And then the other thing that I was working on the edges, the texture of these wood panels. I wanted to show that. So I think I'm just asking for feedback about the balance of the shadows, the highlights, the textures. If it works or not, as far as an interesting picture.
I mean, I might take all that silver that's in that, around the windows, and make it brighter.
Brighter. Ooh, okay.
Bring down the edges, the wood a little bit, right? So a natural vignette would be occurring there.
Okay.
Now that middle, I don't, yeah, that's just some of the things I might do to it.
Because I was afraid that I would be getting that spot in the middle too bright. So
Well, I think if you take all those silver ones, right, and brighten them some, that other
okay.
bright will come down naturally some,
Okay.
interference. You got to balance that light, right? You got a lot of dark in there, so try to, lighten up what's dark. And
Okay.
dark light. Yeah, it's cool.
So this is mine. I took a very impromptu road trip to Texas this last weekend, and I heard about had to stop at the Cadillac Ranch, get some shots of the old cars, and then we went back after the wife and the daughter woke up, and we painted the cars some more. While I was shooting at night, I found a bag of full spray paint, about like 6 cans.
Oh, no kidding.
Because they sell them there, and I didn't know that. This was the first time I'd been there, and so I thought, well, I got this bag, so I hid them way back deep in one of the cars. And so when we came back at like 11 o'clock in the morning, I walked right to them, and I told Lexi, my daughter, I said, "Here's all your cans." So we had like 6 cans of all these different colors of spray paint. So we spent I don't know, like 20-30 minutes spray painting cars and whatnot.
Do they have any lights on them? Like
no
fluorescent lights or anything? That's just the way it.
No, so this is a blended image.
Okay.
I always shoot the sky and the foreground separately, but this is the actual position where Orion was. So it's a real scene. It's just stacked image for the sky and then another image for the foreground. So I don't know, just something fun.
You ever sleep, Darren?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sleep's overrated.
Yeah.
I love that you got this at night. I've been there once also, and I've gone on the same thing road trip down to Texas, and I was there, and there was like a full moon back in there, but it doesn't have the impact that you got with this. It was amazing.
Yeah, the colors are awesome.
Yeah, so the colors, that's one of the things that I try to really, I don't want to say push on people, but when they're learning night photography and they're learning how to blend images, it's always best if you can shoot your foreground either at twilight or dusk or sunrise or sunset, because then you get the better colors because you can shoot at the lower ISOs. And then what you do is just when you have your foreground layer, you just tone it down and balance it with the sky, and it can look fairly natural. But if you actually shot this at night in the dark, the colors wouldn't come out this way.
Right.
So
Interesting.
But
no,
anyway.
that really pops, and even like the ground looks. I like it, just the browns and the way that the light is catching that. Like you said, at night you're not going to get that, right? I mean, if you do everything, just whatever.
So this was sunrise?
I shot the trees. I shot the cars right like about 20-30 minutes before the sun came up. So I had really nice flat light, but it was even and the colors were looking really nice. So, but I had to kick a lot of cans out of the way. Like people just leave the cans on. I don't know at the end of the day if the person that's running the truck goes out and picks them up or whatever, but there were a lot of cans there when I got there. They do have garbage cans there, but people just left them. So I was going around kicking all these cans with my flashlight and putting them on the backside of the cars so that they wouldn't, because I didn't want to sit there and clone them all out. So, but
that's my 200th can.
I don't know. This was a cool section of Route 66 that I did, and 23 years ago, my dad and I did Route 66 from Oklahoma City to Flagstaff, Arizona. And we had a blast. So it was kind of cool to get to spend some time on Route 66 with my daughter. I got the Blue Swallow Motel.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Oh, this is mine. This is Kathy Sneed. My question was, there's another one that I did that's just a little different. And I don't know if they're sequential here. I put 2 in.
Yeah, this is the next one.
Yeah. So what I did on this one was I put a little image of the whole thing in the middle and blended it. And so my only question is, between the two, which one? You guys, if you go to the first one, I think it's more striking in a way with the dot in the middle or whatever. But that's what you look at. So that's why I did the second one the different way. And I just wanted to get the group's opinion on which one you'd go with. And anything else you want to throw in, like it's gaudy or it's crazy.
So in the center. Yeah.
Center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and that one?
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
yeah,
the one with the detailed center door.
Yeah, this one.
Second one's good.
Yeah.
This one? Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what would
Okay.
be crazy is if you took that middle piece that you have there, that whole flower, and made a motion blur on it.
Well, yeah, I've been experimenting a lot, so I might try that too.
And then pack out some mushrooms for us to take, and then we'll evaluate it again.
Yeah.
I like you're doing a really good job of some creative work there.
I didn't quite hear that.
I said you did a really good job at some creativity.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I had to have a video going, YouTube going at the same time. So I was like, okay, now you do this, now you do whatever. But yeah.
It's good.
Okay, thank you.
Do we get to see the original image that you used to make this?
Oh, I didn't submit it. I don't know how I'd show it, but it was it was one calla on, like, I had a black board and I light painted the calla. And then I did do a little colored work on that calla. And then I did the process to make the mandala.
Nice.
Yeah. Good job, Kathy.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's Tony.
I know where this is.
Yeah, I think you might. It's way too bright on this screen.
Yeah, the tones are better here on mine.
Well, what drew me to this scene, it's the old farm. We love shooting old farms, but the cross indicating, it's, okay, what happened here? Is it whatever? Eastern Plains of Colorado.
Oh.
But yeah, part of the story that's that makes you
like that 50 miles.
The title of it, Tell Me a Story.
Colorado.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, that the monitor up there still is coming up.
Yeah, this one looks right. There's one on the screen that's better.
I hate that. It's just, you have to look at the monitors to see.
Oh, this is me again. So this is the first concert I shot this summer. This is Eric for anyone online. This one, first one I shot this summer, and that was where I wasn't really sure what I could get away with, and really kind of just stuck down, like on the side of the front row of the stage, kind of thing, and didn't move around. So you really feel like you have handcuffs on. I never really felt like I could get around, and shoot it as well. But I think this one was one of the better ones that got maybe just a little bit more of his his personality. He's a big head talking to monsters.
Yeah, more of an expression. You would have gotten that from the front.
Yeah.
No, I like how again you used your depth of field, to have him be the focal point. You can still see the lady in the back observing.
This is also actually, I put this one in just because I recently got a Ricoh GR3X, and I was kind of like, it's great to have our big cameras with all the lenses and stuff, but I'm like really disappointed with a lot of times what the phones do, like how they like automatically treat the photos, and so I just went on this quest to find the smallest possible camera that had this has an APS-C 1.6 crop sensor on it, and it's a CMOS sensor, so it's like a really nice sensor for like probably the smallest camera, and it's equivalent to a 40 millimeter lens, which is kind of cool because then you just kind of want to see what you can find. But it's really impressed with the image that came from the camera. My only complaint would be the battery life really is horrible, so you have to have about like 6 batteries, but they're so small.
Yeah,
they weigh
that's a
about
fun
that.
camera though, because again, it has that lens fixed and you don't have to worry, you just go out and shoot.
Yeah, it fires up in like 2 seconds,
Yes.
and you have 3 custom modes that you can have, like baked in recipes, kind of like some of the Fujifilm stuff does.
Love my Fujis.
Yeah, it's really nice, but I love that.
Yeah.
So I started doing a daily photo diary.
Yeah.
With it, and just having it constantly with it.
What's funny about this picture, if you look at that in the building, that it looks like a hurricane is happening on that first line. You see the swirling of it just seemed like a hurricane,
Well, then when I go back to that place when there's a storm out east and it's like clear out west, because you can get like this perfect east-west reflection off that.
Yeah.
What camera is this? What year was it? It's called a Ricoh GR3.
Yeah.
There's a 3 that's 128 mil, and then there's the GR3X.
I think they even have a 3 now, but yeah, they're great.
And you have the GR3?
The GR3X.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's
seeing
the
here.
40 mil. And then the GR3 is the 28 millimeter lens, and I don't know, it's just such a cool little camera. It's so easy to throw in your pocket and use nothing. If you want something that doesn't, automatically, do something to your photos, because I think iPhones have gotten worse. Just, they lift the shadows and they touch the highlights and they try to make everything look kind of like what typical people want, but if you want more control over it.
Right.
Not to totally change the subject and get off topic, but have you tried the Apple ProRes RAW in the newer iPhones?
Yeah.
Because it's absolutely outstanding. Like I'm literally selling and posting full res images on my website.
Okay.
So
what's the setting on that again? That's
the Apple ProRes RAW.
Okay.
And you can't even tell the difference between that and my Sony A7R IV for bright daylight pictures.
Yeah.
I want to clarify that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with perfect lighting.
Well, it doesn't even have to be perfect. It just has to be decent, but yeah. So,
right.
Something.
Yeah.
Who did this image? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's mine. My thing was on the crop. And I could clone out the little bush things on the bottom. So my question is, is the crop right? I didn't have it yet or anything yet.
Your crop is great, Bruce. I would leave the wheat or the grass on the bottom, except for the one where it's just like an itty bitty little.
Right.
That's the only one that I would move.
What if you cropped it in from the right a little bit? Because the bird is almost too far in the left third.
You could probably crop it in, but you could probably crop it in far enough to where you get those tiny weeds out.
Yeah,
And you still have plenty of room on the left or on the right there. Like, I think that's a good suggestion.
And you don't have this picture doesn't have any ground or anything or closer where that eye of that bird, what is he looking at? You know what I'm saying?
You're not standing on the road.
Yeah,
And then like all my other bird pictures, you gotta put the moon in there.
yeah.
Like, you gotta put like a little crescent, and like a full moon or something. You know, just right up in that corner, just to,
Yeah.
you know, that's just my thing, so.
Bruce?
Yeah.
Can I make one other suggestion? Go in and lighten up his eye so that we can really see the eye.
That eye's right at the top, yeah.
I mean, because it looks like it's really sharp and you've got
Mhm.
good definition there. So I would just go in with like a little itty bitty radial filter in Lightroom and bring that exposure up a little bit.
I kind of like the cinema crop.
I do too.
What
That's my
lens,
personal
Bruce?
I was,
I think there's a lot of
400,
possibilities for it.
and I think I had to
Like
tell
really,
it.
like, just skim over the top of
Okay,
the
no,
grasses
it's
and
nice.
the little mouth in there.
Yeah.
It's a great capture bird.
Now, if it just had the moon plus a woman.
Yeah, woman's gotta be in white still.
Yeah.
That would be your portrait image for the next competition.
There you go.
Same thing here, this is up in Yellowstone. That's cool. Lamar Valley, I've got a couple of variations on this, but I don't know, just the bottom, like the bottom, I have that snowbank.
Yep.
Yeah.
That. take
Crop out,
away.
crop out the snowbank and crop out your upper little,
Upper,
like,
yeah.
left hand.
Just make it straight.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like a I personally, I feel like a really skinny panorama.
Place to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like-
cool.
I say it gives
That's me.
foreground interest. If it's just the fog, then it's like shooting into a lake with
No,
nothing in the foreground.
I mean, take it like, I'm thinking like, bring the bottom, not just crop off the snow, like bring it up, so where it's like a very skinny panorama.
That would be a neat version.
Yeah, it's like,
And then this is
Just tiny,
a
tiny.
different group of trees and
Yeah.
that's pretty.
Yeah, crop that sky at the top
I
out.
want to tighten it up on
Yeah.
the side, left side.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Good job, Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So Bruce, honest question. I know how the light is there. Are these natural monochrome type images, or did you desaturate?
But the last one was color, and this one I think I did black and white.
Okay.
I think this is colored. Let's color. That little sky up.
So sometimes that bright light can really just throw havoc on your.
Yeah, and the stuff on the top is not sky, it's just shadowed snow.
Yeah.
These trees, it's the way I had, it was 400 again, and we were just waiting for something to happen, and I saw this, and
You really like trees, where are the elephants in the picture?
a giraffe.
Jeez.
I know somebody that's got a picture of a giraffe, they'll sell you.
And then it's outside of Cook City.
Wow.
It's like snow blowing off.
That's really cool.
And it's the tree on the right, you know, cropping it, leave it out.
Into the middle. I think they take off on, yeah. But.
And then the tree on the little pine tree right on the edge of the left. Does that bother you? Does it need to go on the edge? Very
I have to mention goes with that snow and that curve on the mountain.
That's exactly.
So probably out right here. Roughly.
I mean, like right on the edge of that tree. I mean,
You want to still leave that.
to be able to see more of that mountain, but
That's a really cool shot, Bruce. I really like the tones.
There's more, it's a wider shot. I probably.
Yeah.
Maybe try to version where you got the sky as a Ansel Adams black sky.
Good try that.
Is this,
figure out how to do that.
is the sky blue in this?
Yeah, it's blue.
So, yeah, if you're in Photoshop, just go to the RGB slider and take the blue down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And go to black and white. Come to the black and white conversion first. First, yeah, go do it on the saturated color one and then go to black. Okay.
Oh, really? It's better to do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can
Just more.
use my images in color. I can put them in black.
It's not allowed to bring the infrared.
That's a cool shot.
Oh, this is great.
For sure. So already, so we don't, this is one I did over to Window on them.
at the wildlife preserve up there, Dr. Dagu, yeah. And when I'm experimenting with here, I've always had problems with the background. Like this background here was just a gray sky. So what I've been doing is I go around with my camera and I take pictures of different backgrounds, and then I figured maybe I can make my own background. So that's what I did with this one here.
That was pretty darn good.
The textures are good. It's on the screen that it's a real rich.
I mean, you did a very good job blending that in there, and not just that, but picking a background that goes with the bird. So to me, it really looks like he's sitting on a fence post in front of a field, you know, where all the grasses are dead and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. With a shot of the field where you have
exactly
that, right?
Yeah,
I figure it's cheaper just to take my own pictures of the background than to buy them.
absolutely.
For skies all the time. To see a good sky, take a picture of it.
I take pictures of all the
Just let me know.
Sometimes everyone they just taken for that.
Sometimes use blue red because
I haven't done anything with them, but then
the solutions are so different. You know,
I like that. That's yours. Yes, that's another one of mine that a lot of times when I take pictures of these birds, the background is just too busy or, you know, just too many branches in the way. So
seeds in the air, isn't it? Wow.
Good timing.
yeah, brighten up his up. That's fantastic, Karina.
Thank you.
You know, I like that because again,
It's a beautiful shot, but I tell you, I'm more impressed with the masking. Yeah, a little more technical and
Use Topaz mask? No, I Photoshop. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to learn too, is how to mask.
yeah, that's a really
I
good
don't
job.
think you're getting it.
Yes.
That's nice.
Just always looked like somebody cut it out, some 3-year-old cut it out.
Bruce, there's a video on masking coming your way soon.
Oh, good. Good to know. And this is the same thing, like I said, I'm a lot of times when they're in flight, the background is not very good.
Yeah.
So I find it's easier.
So you can test the background on this too?
Yes.
thing to watch out for is size, right? The size of the object versus the size of the background you're pasting in. That can
Yes.
throw it off, you know.
So I think, you know, what I see in relation to his is that those grasses in the background look pretty big.
Exactly. They're a little bigger than
Let's be honest. If somebody said anything about the replacement of the background, nobody in this room would know the difference.
Yeah, and to me, it just looks like a bunch of big trees behind them.
I honestly don't believe any of the trees like this. You know, the shadows that
This is it. That's
you're almost seeing.
I feel better now because I found it's a sun. And this is a northern harrier.
Some of these like them, they're hunted, they're flying low to the ground. So it's natural to be grass like that behind them. But they're not up in the air like.
Exchange grass, just the size of.
Yeah.
The proportions of those lines, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
They're making more blurrier next time.
No, you're good.
Well done, Karina.
Yeah,
Thank you.
excellent.
I think it's perfect.
We're being picky.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, this was out at the wildlife preserve up there.
Let me guess, he was standing in a grassy field. He was standing in a quick snow in there with a shadow.
No, this was there was another eagle down from him. And then they were like, head to head with some seagulls. They were face off with the seagulls.
It was a snowy field.
And this one's I'm trying to learn how to do dodging and burning. With this.
This is beautiful.
This at the Arsenal?
Yes. No, not what.
No, partly.
Yeah, the wildlife museum they have way up there by Hudson.
I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
I have to compliment you and give them the detail on the snow, Karina. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
I think that's the last
It's
one.
not blue snow, and it's not blown out.
Reserve green is terrible.
So I was the person who's in charge of running, one of the people, I think there's somebody else that does it, but I do a lot of the social media for the Instagram and Facebook. We need the images to post. Otherwise, I'm just literally going through and picking images but they're from the same people who are active on social media, and it's repetitive. Apparently, there's an issue where I'm not able to get the images from Chuck and Kathy because I can't download them from the server. So I would appreciate it if you guys, like these images, they're your own images, if you could email them to me with the data, the exit data, and then I can post them and I can give you guys credit. The people who are active on social media, I can just link your stuff and I can grab images.
I don't do anything on my social media.
But otherwise, eventually it's gonna be the same posts from the same people. And we want the club to grow and see a wide variety of images, and that's what I'm trying to do. So all I'm asking is for an email with an image attached to it, and I can do the rest.
Mike, your parents would love to be on here.
I was gonna say, my dad, my dad. I always been best black and white. Right, so that's, 1,500 pixels wide. I just would say it can be pretty small. Yeah. Okay. That,
And get the movie, the